I posted a couple days ago because somebody made fun of me for having dirty forces, which like, damn, if I wear the shoes twice, they're dirty. Like, God.
Like, I'm not gonna not grease them.
No, like, be for real. Shoes are meant to be worn. Like, and so I made a joke about like, I'm not gonna buy like, because before I was doing TikTok, I was working at Orange Theory. I was working at a gym, and I was not about to go buy Air Forces every week to impress the internet with my life. It just wasn't happening. And then I got so many comments like, then 2 days later, my dad decided to say on TV he spends $100 on a haircut for whatever. And I got all these comments that were like, your dad spends a pair of forces on a haircut. And I don't think people understand. My dad may have these certain things, but I was raised correctly. I am not a millionaire. I don't know if I need to like write it on my forehead.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the best show on the internet. Do I know you? I'm so thrilled you're here. I honestly, y'all, am I giving Merida? I was like looking at this green earlier, and I don't know if I'm giving money or Merida. But 2 M's, period. Welcome back. I'm so excited. How amazing was Jonah? How amazing was Jonah? I have been loving all y'all's texts and messages and comments and just support of his episode. I knew you would love it. And as our first male guest, I feel like he definitely did the show justice. So excited that you loved it. If you have not watched it, pause this, go back. I'll still be here. Don't even worry. I'll wait. I'm going to wait just like this for you. Okay, are you back? Great. Let's keep it going. This week, y'all, woo! Do I have an interview for you? Our guest this week is Queen Mariah Rose. She is so fun. I feel like I was talking to myself. Honestly, y'all, she kind of reminds me of like me. So maybe that's why I loved it, but I had such a fun time with her. Her dad is Jalen Rose, who was a amazing collegiate basketball player. He's a retired NBA player. He is now a very famous ABC and ESPN analyst. And yeah, he's really doing all the things, but it's just so amazing to see Mariah in her own lane really doing the thing. It's really interesting because while Jalen Rose is a sports commentator and analyst, Mariah has really created a whole community of basketball lovers, especially for the girls and the gays, in her words. And we talk a lot about it, but it's just really... I almost spoiled it. I'm gonna let y'all watch it. But I just felt very hopeful, I guess, for the future, knowing that in the sports world, where there is so much hate and so much anger and so much someone is silencing the noise with inclusivity in sports. So I really love Mariah. I'm actually obsessed with her. I think she's so incredible. I told her at the end, sorry, you're my friend now, so no getting rid of me. So I hope y'all love her, and I'll see you at the end. Enjoy Miss Mariah Rose. Mariah, hello. It's so nice to meet you.
I'm so excited.
I love your happy dance. I literally cannot wait to get into it. First, I want to say you have a glow about your skin. Is it just your radiant personality, or is it skincare?
Girl, first of all, it's NARS concealer. Second of all, I've been in Florida for the last couple of days, so I think it's that. But I always glow different when I'm blonde. I feel like I'm Beyonce or something, and then I glow different when I'm blonde.
No, that's exactly what you are. That's exactly what you are. Wait, how was Florida? Were you just vacationing?
No, my little sister was playing in a volleyball tournament. She's like an elite athlete, and I went to go watch her play, and she killed it.
That's amazing. Go, what's her name?
Gracie.
Stay up on Gracie, y'all. Don't sleep on Gracie. Okay, well, this actually leads me perfectly into the sports question because I want to get right into it with you. So, okay, you describe yourself as a professional basketball fan. I'm assuming this is a core part of your identity, given that you are literally the daughter of Jalen Rose, like you were almost birthed into this world. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yes, ma'am. I've been around basketball my entire life. It's honestly a misconception that like my first introduction to basketball was my father, which obviously was a huge part of it very early on. But you got to understand his career was so early in my life. And so my big basketball memories that like really sunk in for me were sitting in the back seat of the car while my mom is young and my brother, who also played, like, he was a point guard, and she's like, "Don't get in this car. It's on the board." Like, these are the core basketball memories that stuck with me. So yeah, I've been around it forever, but it's just like, I know I didn't play the game. Like, I know I wasn't in the NBA, and I wouldn't necessarily describe myself as an analyst, or I didn't know how to label what I was doing other than professional basketball fan, and that just kind of stuck.
I love that. I feel like, okay, so you have a very, very incredible podcast. Is it Hoops for Hotties?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm a hottie, so period. I'm tuning in. Like, I'm here for it. So what I love about it, and I want to talk a lot about it, but one of the things I loved when I was checking it out was you had like a little Canva, I think you made for people to understand. Y'all, you need to check it out. Basically, she like spelled out, she's like, okay, this is a 1, this is a 2, all the positions, this is what this term means. And it was just like, it was so refreshing, because when I think about basketball podcasts, surprisingly, I'm not a huge like basketball watcher myself, but when I think about podcasts, I think about like Barstool and then just like barking at me. Like, I feel like I'm being like told off for not understanding. Like, why are y'all mad?
And that's what I was trying to avoid when I created Hoops for Hotties, because as my following grew talking about basketball, I started to notice my following kind of becoming a boys club, and that's just not me or my personality or represents me at all. I was starting to get annoyed at like certain little comments I would get, like, "Oh, hold up, that's a little homophobic," or like, "Hold up, that's a little sexist." Like, I didn't want my community to be a community for that. So I was like, look, we're gonna teach the girls. Like, I gotta get some girls involved. I want to watch basketball with girls. I want girls at the sports bar. Like, I'm done with talking basketball with men. And so I created this community of hot girls, the gays, who want to talk about basketball. And now it's so much fun and it's so refreshing, and it's not as just like, there's no pressure on it for me. So I love it.
I love that you wanted a space for that, especially because, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do feel like there is a decent amount of like misogynoir and homophobia, transphobia in the basketball community, period. So the fact that you noticed that and carved a space out is huge.
It's awful. Like, I had to stop reading like, I like to keep up on what's going on when it comes to, the basketball world or like the sports world. I check up on the NFL, whatever. And so when there's a post from Bleacher Report, Complex, ESPN, whatever, I'll read the comments. And I had to stop doing that because I want to see what's going on. I want to see the conversations that other fans are having, so I know what to talk about, what to explain on Hoops for Hotties. But it was so negative that it almost makes me sad that I can't read that stuff, because I'm like, it's almost like the sports community online is so boys club. We like one thing, we look one way. And it's like the players that you're supporting, the WNBA, the NBA, the NFL doesn't look like that. So I don't understand where that comes from.
Literally, you're so right. You are so right. It is really mind-boggling to me that they're so upset. I mean, like, even the fact that I remember 2020 when, everyone discovered that Black people existed. I remember like, I was like, am I wrong?
No, you're right. For real.
But I just remember like NFL fans being so mad at Black Lives Matter, being so mad at all this stuff. And I'm like, y'all are literally insufferable. You can't be serious.
It's awful. And I've noticed a difference between covering NFL football type of world and the NBA basketball world. And it seems to be that the basketball world is more progressive. Like, and I don't understand when obviously you have this whole picture of the NFL with like the ownership being predominantly white, coaches being predominantly white, but the league being predominantly Black, and the fans being predominantly white. So it's like this weird energy in the NFL that makes it hard to enjoy for me. Obviously, I love watching it, but to enjoy engaging in conversation online. NFL fans are something else, but
well, I can tell. I remember reading something about like how the NFL just feels like a modern day in a much lesser tone, but like slavery, like from the draft to the owners to like go play, like it's just such a weird thing. I mean, we obviously see that in the NBA too, but it just feels so jarring in the NFL.
Yeah. And I mean, there's more of them. There's like less money, less guaranteed money. It's very interesting, especially considering the inherent violence in football,
Right.
and like the risk that these men are taking playing football. Obviously, they make millions of dollars. Every time I talk about this, every time I talk about sports athletes or feel bad for them or any sort of empathy, everyone's like, "Oh my god, but they make millions." But
I
still,
didn't
there's
ask.
people. Yeah. So I mean, there's a certain level of empathy I have there for Black athletes in the NFL because again, like look at what happened to Colin Kaepernick. Like they don't get to just the way LeBron gets to say whatever he wants to speak out, the way the NBA players do. So I do feel for them.
So true. So true. Yeah, you're literally spinning right now. I can tell that this is your world and I love it. I want to ask you, you mentioned that Hoops for Hotties is for like the girls, the gays, the days, which I'm obsessed with. I'm curious, how do you feel like the gay community has like found you? And because I actually don't know if I've met like, this is very general, but like I feel like the gay community that I have like in my life or the people that I know typically aren't really basketball fans, but I'd be so intrigued to like meet a corner of the community that is.
So here's what I learned about the gays. Listen, I love the gays. I hang out with the gays. Like those are my people. Okay.
Period.
But what I've learned about the gays is they love a social event. So my gay best friends are like, girl, I want to come to the Hawks game. Like they got tequila sodas there. Like, let's do it. Like, it's fun. Like it's fun to be around sports. Like, and I think that people have misconstrued in sports media that every single person who's interested in sports has to know like Steph Curry's cousin's baby mama's like exact weight when she it's not that serious. Like you can just go to a game, enjoy it, and like I make sure people kind of know what's going on. And so in my own life, like hanging out with the girls and the gays, Black women, white women, gay men, like all kind of people who are like, I just want to be a part of the, like when the NBA finals is on, like I'm down to go to the sports bar and like have a good time. And I want to know who the players are. Like I don't want to like sound dumb when I'm talking about it.
Right.
So I explained it to people so much in my regular life that it just kind of trickled down into like, why aren't I making TikToks about this? Like, obviously, if my friends want to know, there's other people out there who want to know. And it's been so refreshing to just have this like outpour of like from the gay community, from women, from everybody just like commenting and being like, there is literally no other refreshing space like this to talk sports on the internet. Like everywhere else is so like negative or just so literal or it's just not fun. And it's kind of made talking sports fun. So the gay community, they are not as turned off from sports as you would think. It's just like inherent homophobia and like sports fandom. But I feel like if you make anybody feel included, who's going to turn down like going to the sports bar and watching the game or going to a game in person? So
y'all are not hearing her right now. She said, bring them to the table, period. Everyone will eat, but you got to invite them to the table. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to go back to this this like comment. We talked about comments and like you not reading comments sometimes and just like so because I'm a professional stalker, aka talk show host, I went through some of your comments. And first of all, your Insta, y'all go, well, we'll talk about that soon. Your Insta's fire. But okay, so one of your comments had said, why am I just now finding out that you're Jalen Rose's daughter? Okay. And then another one said, who knew Jalen's daughter was all this? In a very positive way. So I'm assuming, because people have, like on my TikTok, they're like, I didn't know Draymond had a sister who's pretty and nice and normal. I'm like, yeah, period. Come on, positive PR. But I feel like it's a compliment for you, right? Like you're successful, not because you're like writing off your dad's success. Like you're successful because you're you.
Yeah, it's funny because I always knew what I wanted to do. Like first of all, I didn't know exactly what I want to do. If I'm being completely frank and honest with you, I was just like, I want to talk and be on camera and I want people to know my name. And I was like, a lot of people don't want to admit that, but it's
I'll admit it.
Yes. And so I was like, I want to be out there. Like I'm looking at women like Beyonce, like Zendaya and Shake It Up, like back in the day. And I'm like,
Shake It Up.
I can do that, you know? And so I didn't know, I tried everything. Okay. And it turned out what I was best at was like talking basketball because people found that unique in a sense. And I think a lot of people, especially when I started making TikToks, had no idea who my father was just because that's not something that I off the bat tell people ever. Like there are people who have known me for months, years in my regular life who have no idea who my father is. Just because why, like, what is that? first of all, I'm grown. Like I'm 22 years old. So it's like, what information? I'm not telling you who my mom is. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so I just feel like because it takes a village to raise a child, as everybody always says. And so many people like had a hand and a foot and like making me who I am that I don't feel the need to go out of my way to brag about having a dad that played in the NBA, because that isn't, and it's like a accurate representation of the fabric of who I am.
Right.
So a lot of people on TikTok are recently finding out because I've recently, like, I made a Father's Day post, and I used to feel more uncomfortable and go out of my way to like not post him because it was a proud thing. Like, in a sense, I wanted like people to know me for me and to separate myself from that. But I realized like it's part of my story and a part of who I am, and like good, bad, or indifferent, like that's who my dad is. So it doesn't matter if people know, they know. If they don't, they don't. But I'm not gonna go out of my way and be like, this is my dad. But it's so funny when people comment they're surprised, because if it like I go a couple months without posting him, then people just forget. And they're like, no, basketball. And then it's Father's Day, let me post my dad. And people are like, oh my God, that's your dad. And so yeah, you know the internet's will be floppy.
Girl, like, oh my gosh, that is so funny. I love that because I definitely relate to the piece about you. Like, you used to feel maybe like a little uncomfortable or just like a little weird about posting. I think, okay, so in high school, I definitely felt that way. And I still do to an extent now. It's a little blurrier now just with the show, but I remember this one girl, period. I'm going to say her name. Her name is Georgia M. And
talk to him, Georgia.
Talk to him, Georgia. She was like, I had posted my brother. It was like, I think they just had one like back to back, or I don't know, something, but they had just won the finals. And I posted about him, and she went on her Twitter and she was like, LOL, we get it. And it was so obvious she was subtweeting me because she had like quoted my tweet or something. And I was so upset. I was like, how dare, and she was a Black girl too. Yeah. She said, break that bond. She said, break that bond. I was so upset because I was like, you get what? It's not my fault they keep winning. And I'm not about to I'm not about to just hide, you know, a part of me when it's like I'm celebrating my sibling's success. And, you know, same thing for you with your dad. And so do you feel like a part of the reason you maybe felt uncomfortable, you mentioned it was pride, but you also think it was like external stuff too?
Well, people are really angry and like it's so sad. And you know what? It's not the majority of people. Like, honestly, the majority of comments are always nice, like whatever. But a lot of people, especially when you get too big, or when you get too happy, or when things get too good, or you win 2 championships in a row, like people don't want to see that. Like, they love the climb of like, oh my God, I'm struggling, I'm growing, I'm trying to get to this certain pinnacle. But once you get there, I mean, you see it with influencer celebrities, people all the time. They get to a certain point, oh my God, tweets from 7 years ago, oh my God, this, that, the third. Not saying that that's never valid, but in a sense, people don't like when people get too big for their britches, in a sense. And I think that it's kind of, when it comes to having popular family members, I almost didn't want to let that out, because like I was saying earlier, when it comes to the NFL or talking about athletes, or like me having empathy for them in certain situations, Brittany Griner comes to mind. Like, people don't feel bad for people who have like money, success. And I don't think people understand that, like, yes, it's amazing. Yes, so much privilege comes with this life. Like, I will never deny it, that I'm a bougie girl. I get certain things and access to certain rooms and whatever, but everybody has their own struggle. Everybody has their own thing. And I almost didn't want people to have this label on me, like, oh, your dad's a millionaire, you're a millionaire. Like, I posted a couple days ago because somebody made fun of me for having dirty forces, which, like, damn, if I wear the shoes twice, they're dirty. Like, God.
I'm not gonna not crease them.
No, like, be for real. Shoes are meant to be worn. Like, and so I made a joke about, like, I'm not gonna buy that, because before I was doing TikTok, I was working at Orange Theory. I was working at a gym, and I was not about to go buy Air Forces every week to impress the internet with my wife. It just wasn't happening. And then I got so many comments like, then 2 days later, my dad decided to say on TV he spends $100 on a haircut for whatever. And I got all these comments that were like, your dad spends a pair of forces on a haircut. And I don't think people understand. My dad may have these certain things, but I was raised correctly. I am not a millionaire. I don't know if I need to like write it on my forehead. So I didn't want people to associate his success or his lifestyle or him with me in a way, because we're different people. Yes, I'm his daughter. Yes, he takes care of me and I love him. But like our lives are different. I'm a 22-year-old woman. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Exactly.
I wasn't really comfortable really letting people in on all that yet.
1,000%. The timing of your dad saying that is so funny. I know
It
they were
was
all
literally the next day. Like, I kid you not, it was literally the next day.
like,
I was
here y'all
like,
go.
here they go. They're coming.
No, literally, I always tell the story on the show, but I had posted a TikTok about how the playoffs like suck for me because everyone's like sending me Dre's highlights and I don't care. And someone was like, you are very tone deaf because people are in poverty. And I was like, okay, I'm eating ramen as I post this. Like, I'm not saying I'm in poverty, but I'm not saying I'm his level also. I guess I don't understand. I think also there's a race factor to this too. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, but I think about like my non-Black friends and like they have a lot of them have like very rich parents or siblings. Like one of my friends, her like brother is like 30 under 30, like, you know, and it's like when it comes to them, it's just like, oh, cool. Like they're doing their thing, you're doing your thing. But for some reason, I feel like when it's Black families, it's like just assumed. Am I spitting right now?
You're spitting right now. And this is like such a nuanced issue. And I in no way want to sound like insensitive or whatever when I speak about this. But this is just straight up. When it comes to white people and generational wealth, it's just an assumption like, oh, her parents are rich, she's rich. A white girl driving a Range Rover makes sense to people. Like, people can digest that. But when you're a Black woman living off of a certain type of success and, you know, you get labeled daddy's money, whatever, what you wanted my dad to let me be broke? Like, my dad came from humble beginnings so that his kids would not have to live that way.
Right.
So why would I live that way? Like, and that goes back to people who are just angry. Like, I don't know what it is about, you know, white girls and having certain things and like exhibiting certain things. I don't know if it's maybe because like when a white girl has a lot of money, she looks a certain way, or like quiet luxury and like blah, 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 blah. And I'm a little more loud and I've got diamonds in my teeth and whatever.
Period.
But like, I will never understand that, but I have always thought about that. Like, generational wealth is so assumed when it comes to white families, but when it's Black families, people are like, daddy's money, you didn't earn shit.
Yes.
Like, I don't get it.
Yes. Thank you. I'm not insane. This is a real thing. And y'all, we did not talk about this before. I mean, even like on TikTok, like I'll see like a Black girl driving a Range Rover or whatever, and they're so mad in the comments. And it's just like, to your point, it's just absolutely insane. And what I hate most about it is a lot of times it's Black people, because I'm like, y'all talking about 40 acres and a mule, and I agree. However, when some people are trying to get up and like take us with them or take you with them, whatever, you have an attitude.
My meanest commenters are Black men.
Wow.
Like, the meanest people to me in my comments are Black men. Like, they are ruthless and I will never understand. I posted a video the other day that had lost some weight and I was like flexing like, ooh, summer bod, whatever. And my comments, so many of them that I had to delete, were like, you were better before. I like a woman with some meat on her bones. You were so thick. Why'd you do that?
I didn't ask.
Like, you're hating on me for losing weight? You could have just scrolled. I will never understand. I will never understand.
He's so angry.
So angry. I can't.
Oh my gosh. Come on, weakest link. Maybe I'll edit that out, but whatever. That is wild, but just know I will be in your comments from here on out, responding to every single one of them when I have time. What are you doing? Okay, so obviously we talked a lot about basketball and sports, but you're obviously so much more than just a basketball fan. So y'all, please, can we just take a second? Mariah recently within like the last, like what, 2-3 years you graduated?
Yeah.
Okay. So recently graduated from...
I graduated last May.
Oh, period. You're my class.
Yes. May 2022.
Come on, class. Okay. So recently, graduated from UGA with a BA in journalism, minor in fashion merchandising, and a sports media certification. So Was your degree like just kind of like a combination of what you're most passionate about?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, you do your research. I literally knew exactly what I wanted to major in when I went to college, and I used to play volleyball. I was not nearly as good as my sister, and I always thought I was going to play volleyball in college, and then it would have been like a smaller school type of situation, and I knew I wanted to be on TV or like do media. And when I got into UGA, first of all, like I don't know if a lot of people know this, but in the South, in Georgia specifically, getting into UGA is like, it's like the biggest deal. But I was not the most academic. I mean, I obviously had decent grades, but I wasn't like the most academic person. So when I called my mom and told her got into UGA, she was like, baby, read it again. But so going into UGA, like when I got into that school, I was like, this is the perfect avenue for me to study sports.
Yeah.
And then when you're studying journalism, you also have to have a minor. I started with Spanish because I thought I was Miss Latina Queen that was going to move to Miami after I graduated. I got 2 years into Spanish and that was done.
Not your portion, not your portion.
And then I was like, oh, fashion, like I'm in fashion, I'm into clothes, like mood boards. Yeah. My fashion classes were 10 times harder than my sports classes.
Wow.
But, like textiles. Yeah, it was something else. But yeah, I definitely got lucky. I got to study things that I love.
That's amazing. So do you feel like on your show now, because Hoops for Hotties is like a video podcast, correct? So you can like show off like some of your fits while talking about your thing. Like you're really in your bag right now.
Yeah, I try to mix everything. Yeah. Like I don't want to be just labeled one thing. Like as soon as you catch me as one thing, I'm flipping over to something else. Like I want to be in all different type of avenues. And I'm in sports, obviously, but I'm still a woman. Like I still want to have style. I still want to be cute. So yeah, that definitely like goes hand in hand, especially with like basketball being such a sport where like they're getting their fits off and whatever, as you know, and I get to talk about that too. So
come on, league fits.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I could tell that you were very fashionable on your Insta. So I think we will really relate to this. We'll have a lot in common here. So unfortunately, I do understand the gravity of like having someone in your family with fame and popularity and just how that affects your relationships, whether it's like with strangers or friends or romantic partners or whatever. Yeah. In what ways have you seen that effect in your life?
Honestly, I have the best support system and the best friends. Like my friends that I met in college are going to be my friends for life. And then people in high school, I went to a school with a few kids that also had parents that, played in league or played in the NFL or like things like that. And, you get like a certain type of attention because of that. But I've gotten lucky. Like people have been honestly really kind and like kind of understanding of our situation. My family's like different in a way, like my parents aren't together. So it's like, we have a whole blended family thing going on. But like people just kind of are like, cool, like whatever. So I've gotten really lucky. Romantic partners is a completely different situation. Not that I have had a lot of those, or like am engaging with a lot of those, but dating in this sense is funny because like I had to get off the apps because people are weird, bro. Like people will notice. But I will say, you would think that like when you have a family member of status, it's more of like a people trying to use you type of thing. Yeah. And I haven't run into that much. What I run into is like people almost being, this sounds so bad, but almost being like jealous or like what you were saying with the girl in your school tweeting that about you, like talking about me about certain things, or like if I am really embracing my dad, I'm doing too much. If I'm not really embracing him, it's like I'm a dishonest nepo baby. Like it's just like people are like, I don't know. I've run into more like haters in a sense that I have like just people, trying to me. Right. But yeah, definitely there's a sense of like jealousy that comes off of certain people, but I can like clock that. I mean, your brother's been your brother your whole life. And like, this with basketball, they don't just become good. Like they're good in high school, they're good in college. So it's like, you deal with that forever, but it's the haters. It's the haters
for me. No, and I just think it's so funny when people think you can't clock that or like you can't sniff it out from a mile away. I'm like, I'm honestly offended you think I'm so stupid.
Right. Like I've had situations where like in dating, like where boys will make comments to me like, oh, like you're so bougie, like you like bougie stuff, or you like to eat bougie stuff, or like, did your dad take you to blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it's giving insecure.
If you can't pay, just say that.
And now I'm grossed out. And so now it's done.
Like, because I can't even take you home to my dad. Like,
no,
you're like,
not at all. Like, he will sniff your insecurity from a mile away. Like, I can't.
And I think, like, I don't know. I was thinking about this a lot last year. So many times we see people in a certain like world, whether it's like actors or whatever, date within the world. And growing up, I didn't fully understand that. I'm like everyone wanted Zac Efron, but he not looking for anybody else.
Yeah.
People know, you know what I'm saying? But then like as I grew up, I'm like, there's just a level of familiarity and you just don't need to explain stuff. Like I can talk to you and fully understand, like you got your own life, I got my own life. Like there's nothing that you want or need from me, you know, that's material. Do you feel like that too?
It's exhausting re-explaining yourself and your situation. Like, I don't know if you feel this way, but that awkward, like I don't usually tell people and I let them find out on their own and like ask me about it. But once it gets to a certain point where you like have to mention it, like when you're telling a story, and you get that awkward part of the story where you're like, oh yeah. By the way. Like,
it's so awkward.
It's so awkward, bro. Like it's so
so awkward. It's like giving when you have to like, it's your birthday, but like people don't know, but like you kind of need them to know, but like you don't really say it.
Birthday, like it's so awkward because there's no and I think that's why I don't say anything. There's no non-cringy way to say that. Like my dad's Jalen Rose, and like honestly, half the time in the circles I run in, people are like, "Who?"
I love that.
Like people don't care. Like I don't know. Like in the sports world, it's completely different, obviously. But in like my regular life, like at college, like people are like, girl, okay. Like, you know, I don't say nothing, but I love
it. I like did theater in high school and you know, they didn't know. They had no idea what was going on. So and they would be like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, wait, you're literally my best friend. I'm so grateful that I don't have to explain to you. It's weird like now with this show, like, so my full-time job is I'm a consultant and like, I'll be like, oh, I need to go. I have like an interview or whatever. Interview for what? My talk show. Well, the next natural question, of course, because they're interested in kind. It's like, oh, what's it about? And I'm like, there's physically no way for me to explain the show concept without you. Otherwise, they're like, oh, you weird, like super fan. You're obsessed with celebrities. Like, it's not that. So it just naturally comes out. But like, I have a hard boundary, like at work. Like, I do not let my supervisor know. Like, I refuse. My supervisor, my manager, all that. Because it just becomes a huge issue. It can.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like I've been lucky because in most of my jobs, it's been sports related.
Yeah.
But like working at the gym and stuff, I don't really want people to know. And like, again, on top of that, people are weird and it's a safety kind of issue. Like, it's not like I got Jalen Rose type of security. Like,
okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't be running around telling people that, like, because people go run up, where's the money, girl? And I don't have it.
And I don't have it. I don't got it like you. I don't got it at all. Wait, okay. Really quickly on this piece though, I'm like listening to you talk about how you can like kind of discern in one situation where you'd say it. And I do that too in like other situations where I wouldn't. I feel like there's almost like a level of cultural context that you like learn in our positions. Like, and that is such a gift, right? Because we can, if there's one thing I hate, it's a lack of social awareness. And because I grew up around it and, you know, I had to learn it and my position is like Dre's sister, I just felt like, oh, this is natural. But as I'm growing up, a lot of y'all don't have social awareness.
Oh, not at all. And there'll be certain moms, certain types of women that'll, you know, make little comments and be like, oh, like your dad, like, oh girl, like, what does that mean? Like that, like question me or like try to like interview me on the spot and like try to like get all up in the business and ask questions that don't need to be answered. And it's just like people, it's so weird, but you grow up with like this certain sort of discernment because you notice those things like as a toddler or as a kid, or you notice other little kids treating you different. Like other kids, like having my dad sign their backpack and like just things like that. Like if kids would, I understand, like I have like,
it's real.
I obviously understand social context enough to understand, like, obviously he's on the television, like to some people like that gives like this larger life type of situation, but it's just like reading social situations like, oh, we're eating and we're like obviously having a really serious conversation. You're like, hey, yo, bro, like it's just, I don't know. Some people don't.
Picture.
And one thing that's so random that I've learned in this sort of conversation is I don't really like to take pictures with famous people unless it's like I go up and I have a conversation with them, or it like just kind of fits in the context, or it's like Beyonce. I'm taking a picture with Beyonce.
I'm taking the picture.
Yeah. But in a sense, it's like, I think when you strip down the idea of taking a picture with a celebrity, it's either to, and like there's certain contexts where like, I get it.
Yeah.
But like in certain contexts, it's like, are you taking a picture because, you know, you love this person and like you want to have this memory of like meeting them and you actually want to like walk up and speak to them? Or are you just like walking up, taking a selfie and walking off so you can post it on your story like they're an exhibit? Like, and so I have that weird discernment. Like there's certain celebrities that like, I'm like, you know, I don't need to take a photo with you, or like, I don't need to like treat you a certain kind of way because you're really just like a human being and this is
me, right
now. You're eating at a restaurant. Like, I'm not gonna like walk up to you and be like, hey, yo, like this isn't the museum. But I don't know. Me personally, it's just like something that I don't do because it was something that made me uncomfortable as a kid, and so I just don't. You know, certain contexts you get it. If we're at an NBA game, obviously I get it. People are seeing him
totally.
Certain things, but I just feel like a lot of people don't know how to read the room, and so that's something I've tried to develop in my life. When I'm fangirling, being like, okay, I can just like, I don't have to. I can just tell my friends I saw this.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you're reading my mind. I feel the exact same way, and it really is a learned skill. And like, I don't know, the word you use, exhibit, is so spot on. Especially the conversation we were talking about with like Black people being seen as like less than human, and then you come up and like have them take a picture with you like they're a dog or like your pet. It's giving weird. It's giving weird.
It's definitely weird. And it's like, again, with the sports context, it's like, I don't know. It's like with certain people, I'm like, I almost get like a internal anger because I'm like, do you, especially with everything that happened in 2020 and seeing a lot of people's true colors, I'm like, do you love Black people or do you just like when they bounce balls for you on TV? Like why, like, or you're taking a picture, you see Draymond Green walking down the street, but like, what are you tweeting about him? Like when you're at home or like, you know? And I think that a lot of sports fans don't have that discernment of, hey, I'm commenting these mean things about this person and I get to say whatever I want about this person in my own privacy or on the internet. But if I see Draymond Green, if I see Jalen Rose in person, I'm taking a photo and I'm acting like a fan. Like, I don't know. That bothers me.
They are the first to switch up. Quick story on this. Last year, a couple of my girls and I, we went to like a Grizzlies Warriors game and my brother wasn't playing. But like, yeah, okay, you know the basketball world. So Iggy, you know, had left the Grizzlies and like they are not really feeling him. So they're like booing him, all this stuff. Oh, they're talking about my brother, they're talking about everybody. And you know, they're just on the bench, not listening. So in the middle of the game, I needed water. So I went up to my brother and I like had him give us some water and I sat back down. Girl, when I went and sat back down, there's a line of kids waiting to take pics. I'm like, hold up. First of all, your mama was just booing him and saying, honestly, words I've never even heard to describe Black people. Second of all, that's another thing I hate, when parents send their kids to do their dirty work. That's weird. Like, buck up. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it was just so funny how like fast they switched. I'm like, this is so ridiculous.
No, because at the end of the day, if you wouldn't say something to somebody's face, don't say it on the internet. Like when people are like, oh, how do you deal with hate on the internet? Or how do you deal with certain comments? I'm always like, you don't. Like anybody who gives you a certain answer, like maybe I'm just like Truman, but anybody who gives you a certain answer who's like, yeah, like one day I just like became numb to it. I'm sorry, if somebody's calling me like ugly and fat on the internet, like for 2 seconds, I might be like, and I know that I'm not like ugly.
Right.
Or like, I don't feel badly about myself, but anything that has the potential to be hurtful is gonna like make me take a step back for a second and hurt my feelings. Like I'm a person, and athletes, I get it, they're men and they're 6'8" and strong and built. They're people too. And so I feel like if you wouldn't walk up to Draymond Green in his face, if you want to walk up to Andre Iguodala in his face and say a certain thing, why are you tweeting it? Because if you run up on them in public, you're not saying that. So
at all.
Me, if you run up on me in public, you're not going to be like, "Hey, you're ugly."
There's no way they're saying that.
Thank you. But like, it's just so I don't. Internet hate is so weird because happy people don't do that. Like, have you ever seen something on the internet and was like, you know what? I hate this. Like, I'm gonna write something mean.
No, literally, like, it's like the shade room comments. Y'all already got 40,000 comments, and you still think that your comment's gonna be seen? You're homophobic.
So awful, bro. I got a comment the other day that was like, I cannot remember what this guy said, but it was something disrespectful, misogynistic, something along the lines of like, oh, he told me to keep making fashion videos because I'm not a basketball analyst. And then I replied to it and I said, mind the business that pays you and I'll keep doing the same. Like, and he commented back to me.
Oh my gosh.
And first of all, I think people forget, like, this is my phone. Like, athletes use their phone. Models use their phone, actors use their phone, Justin Bieber and Beyonce use their phone.
Right.
Like, I see what you're sending me. It's my Instagram. Like, what do you think? I just like don't see it? Like, and so he comments back to me. He goes, wow, thousands of comments, but you're so offended by one you have on.
Are you serious? The irony, he missed it.
Like, yes. If somebody ran up to me and said that to me in person, what do you think? I would just turn the other cheek, keep walking? No, like, I'm just, it's not my nature. Like, I'm a reply. So I don't know.
Him saying thousands of comments is really sending me like, King, thousands of things to do, and you sitting up here under my page making sure I get more engagement for my next sponsorship. Keep it going.
Right.
You are so strong. Well, okay, this leads me to my last question for you. So obviously you're very confident, like, you know who you are, and I know that took work, but like, you know who you are, and I love that. And it like, you glow. It's truly like an amazing trait you have. Thank you, girl. It's an amazing trait you have. So what is some advice for our listeners who maybe are just like, they like see that confidence in you, they're like, I want that. Like, how do I get that? What would you say to them?
I would say what other people think about you is none of your business, and giving it any sort of weight is ruining your life. That is the most important piece of advice I've ever gotten, because like, literally what other people think of you is so outside of yourself. Like, and I know everybody cares what somebody thinks. Like, I get it. Like, I care what my mama thinks. I care what my friends think about me. And, you know, you can take certain senses of corrective criticism and, you know, things that are valuable to your life, you know, the difference, and trust that. Like, if you're worried about, like, I remember this is a big thing for me. Like, when it's the day I'm going to get my hair braided and I look crazy, you feel me? And my hair is all, you know, crazy. I used to not go to the gym because I would be like, oh, I look crazy today. You know, it's hair day. I don't go to the gym.
Right.
And then I realized, I was like, I've got these fitness goals that I want to reach that are going to make me feel good about myself. I've got these things I gotta do. I gotta get to the gym whether I like my hair or don't like my hair. Only reason I'm not going is because I'm worried about what other people at the gym think of me.
Ooh, that's real.
Ooh. Like, so let that go. If you want to post content, post your content. Like, what other people think of you, giving that weight is ruining your life. Let it go.
Slow clap for Mariah. Please don't play with her. Don't play with her. I love that advice, because at the end of the day, you do not want to live your life with regrets and look back and be like, wow. That's the other thing. Like, I look at some of these creators, no offense, but what are you really giving? But you know what they're giving? Consistency. They're giving boldness. They're giving, I don't care. They don't care about my opinion, period. And they shouldn't. So no. I love your advice. It's so good.
Yeah. Let it go, girl.
Shake it off. Mariah, you're a star. Thank you so much for coming on. Where can everyone find you, follow you, support you, your projects? Let us know.
My socials are Mariah C. Rose on every platform. And then Hoops for Hotties is my podcast. You can listen to it anywhere that podcasts are found and watch it on YouTube. And yeah, check me out on TikTok for basketball lessons. I post them every other day, every time there's tea happening. And I'm hoping to see you guys all there.
Yay! I cannot wait to follow and support. You're incredible. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
What a true queen. Like, are y'all not obsessed with her? I just feel like Do I Know You has the best guest in the world. I say it every time, and I'm not going to shut up about it. We are so blessed with the guests that we have. Shout out to Mariah. She is a star. Make sure you go follow Hoops for Hotties. Make sure you follow her on all her platforms. And we discovered at the end of the episode that we'll actually be meeting soon. So stay tuned on that announcement. But so grateful that she came on the show. I think something that really inspired me was, I mentioned at the beginning, just carving out a space for productive conversation, healthy conversation about things that her and her community are passionate about, but doing it in an inclusive way. No one's being left out at her table. So make sure you go support a Black woman in sports, a Black woman in media, because, you know, we're all trying to make it. And yeah, I stand. Like, I'm sure y'all stand, but I truly stand. So I think that's it for this week. Like I said, I have a very special announcement coming out very, 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 very soon. I think within the next week, I'm going to tell y'all. Probably the next episode. I will tell y'all the next episode. I don't know. I just feel like you have to be very careful with putting your good news out in the world. We talked about it a little bit. Like, I know all y'all are rooting for me, but not everyone is. And I just want to be very protective of my energy and my peace. But I also want to celebrate with you all because we're all in this together. So stay tuned on the very special announcement. But with that, I will see y'all so soon. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Mariah, for coming on. You are all beautiful and loved and complete and whole. And I love you so much. So cheers to you. Mwah. Bye.
I was not the most academic. I mean, I was at decent grades, but I wasn't like the most academic person. So when I called my mom and told her I got into UGA, she was like, baby, read it again.